Hey guys, welcome to the Scarred Thumb podcast. It's not going to be the usual stream today. As you might know, it is Easter Sunday today, and well, I've got plans for Easter. I got to go to church, family, all that stuff, all that fun stuff. It's not Trans Visibility Day. Uh, Joe Biden can burn in hell. It's always fun when you're a Catholic or a Christian to see which institution will disrespect the most important day of the year for you. And of course, this year, Biden, a fellow Catholic, decided it would be his job to do such a thing. So wonderful, wonderful. Oh, anyway, unfortunately, I'm also a little bit sick today. You might be able to hear it in my voice, so I'm not going to be able to talk very loud. So we got both these things together: holiday, sickness, combining to fight. But we push forward to get you content here. These women, that's what we're talking about. These women are ruining games. My God. First up from Lyle 15. This is for Microsoft's new Gaming for Everyone product inclusion framework. And ooh, it's super fun. Are you reinforcing negative stereotypes? Unnecessarily introducing gender and gender barriers into your code or design. Into your code. I didn't know I could code gender barriers into games. We're getting playable female characters, and we'll be talking about playable female characters that are equal in skill and ability to their male peers. Whoa. Are your female characters equipped with clothing and armor that fits their task? No, not bikini armor. Do they have exaggerated body proportions also? We'll be talking about that too. When the story allows you to show male characters suited a full range of emotion, including joy, sadness, and vulnerability. Oh, yes. We gotta make them total pussies. And he mentions the G. Davis Institute, but here we go. And then, questions to consider. Do all your player character/player depictions look the same? Oh, no. You take a step to ensure characters are represented respectfully and authentically well. You better call Sweet Baby Incorporated to make sure they're valid, authentic. Have you validated assumptions made about your audience to keep blind spots from unintended stereotypes, and so on. And the more I look into this, the more I realize that all of this is about the DEI and stuff. All of it's your wokeness. It's all about reinforcing these sort of these leftist ideological views. It's all about reinforce them, making them into cultural norms. Of course, video games, probably the biggest media platform out of anything. If you consider gaming in general, bigger than movies, bigger than TV, reaching so many young people right now. This is why they want to take hold of it and corrupt it. To give you this, stuff like this, Cortana, we can see 2001, 2004, and look, really peaked 2012, and then just look at 2021. Holy crap. Just a flat-chested, nothing. No sex appeal whatsoever, just fat, where's the hips? It's been de-emphasized, the chest, no chest whatsoever. I mean, damn, 2012 looked great, and then 2021, it's all about desexualizing women. It's all about making these men look sensitive and vulnerable. And none of it's about, having like a cool guy or a sexy woman. It's all got to be a specific type. And it's not like having like a black guy in it, a cool black guy, like, say, like CJ, Grand Theft Auto. No, it needs to be black characters, that live the black experience, the authentic black experience, being a black man in America. Racism and all that stuff. And then lied here going in. Well, the new study from the G Dave Saves straight up cherry picks studies talking about the study from the Big Studies Bushman Dill cited in order to state that video games cause violence and sexism. This is kind of the new thing they're trying to, new tack they're taking. The whole, back in the day with Jack Thompson, there was plenty of actual science studies that show that they don't. But what they're trying to do now is saying that the sort of online space radicalizes or emphasizes normalizes is the word that they use. It normalizes violence, toxicity, misogyny, hatred, all of that wonderful stuff. This is what it does. It's the environment. It's not the video games itself, guys. It's just the environment that you're playing in now. It's the men that are in there. That's what's causing it. And of course, he also does a great job of citing an actual scientist, Christopher Ferguson, wrote something about the report here. Kind of goes in video games of masculinity. Much key points. There's very little linking video games to toxic masculinity or sexism toward women. More panic and prejudice toward game communities remain common. New report repeats familiar patterns of moral panic and misinformation about games and gamers. And advocating for egalitarian representation of women in games is a worthwhile cause, but must be undertaken honestly, which it never is. Personally, I don't think it's a worthwhile cause myself, but it is kind of it is pretty cool to see him fight back. It focuses a great deal on toxic masculinity, a term that I argue has no scientific value, which it doesn't. And that may, in some cases, enforce progressive gender moral norms on men by shaming those with more traditional values. Also references to mass shootings despite the fact that link between video games and shootings have been robustly debunked. The report also insinuates video games are relevant to white male police violence against people of color. Not only is there no evidence for this particular claim, but the data on police violence finds it is not limited to white officers, male officers, or people of color as victims. And they always like to do this. This garbage studies with surveys, these garbage surveys that they get like 300 of their Twitter followers to take and then call it science. There really is just so weak, and it's really just there to enforce their own opinions, their own beliefs, ideological beliefs. That men are bad, men are toxic, men are hateful. But it is cool. If you get a chance, I'll link it in the description to the stuff that covers it. Kind of cool to read someone that actually isn't against gamers and actually seems that when he talks, his stuff makes sense. It's actually a crazy thing to say. Where it does conduct its own analysis. I like this part. In one part, it purports to be a groundbreaking content analysis of sex, race, LGBTQ+, other identity representations, both masculine and current games, would be welcome as there hasn't been a census of game characters and content around since 2009. However, they don't conduct a content analysis of the best-selling games, but rather analyze Twitch streams. The service that allows gamers to broadcast their own playing to fans who often pay money of popular players. This tells you this only tells you about the most popular Twitch players choose to play games that they like, not the content writ large. Calling this a content analysis of popular games is inappropriate. So really calling out, this is of course from 2001, but calling out just how bad a lot of the science is in a lot of these studies. And it isn't good. It is 100% just hack jobs that are just making this to either get cited, get funding, and it's so easy to do. I mean, we saw Take This get $700,000 from the Department of Homeland Security, and this isn't to do anything special. It is 100% to enforce left-wing beliefs in video games, to sort of bully and badger these devs to further enforce left-wing beliefs in media. So like, hey, you're making stuff that's too violent. Tone it down. We got to have more censorship to sort of tamper down people being rude, people saying bad words. You can't have this sort of masculine environment, this playground. We have to sanitize it as much as possible. All of this to sort of, again, reinforce this weakness and this civility that really isn't what male gamers want in a competitive environment. They want a little bit of fun, but they got to make it worse and worse, and make the games and heroes that sort of teach you how to be a man weaker and weaker. This is a tweet from someone. The numbers don't lie. Wokeism is just sparkling profits. Beware spineless game execs. This from Psychonauts, I think. Some Psychonauts person. Or the maker of Psychonauts. We're coming for that money you left on the table by surrendering your communities to angry racists and sexists. Their poison is in your soul and you will never get it out. Time for a new era game. Good luck. That's all I can say is good luck. A lot of these people like saying, "Oh, the indie scene is gonna allow us to make gay dinosaur high school, and that's really gonna change gaming." Like, go for it. Make all the gay dinosaur high school games you ever want. Get Sweet Baby to help you. I mean, Sweet Baby. Some of those games that they're making, like take one look at it and I'm like, oh yeah, this is exactly what I expect it to be. It's going to be full of this garbage, this woke garbage, if you want to call it, leftist trash, and I'm fine with that. Just stay away from established IPs that are made for men. That's all I ask. If they did that, I'd be perfectly fine. They can make all the gay games they ever want. But enough criticizing the left. It's time to criticize a little bit of the right, maybe my own side. This kind of came up. Little bit of an argument between Sid Alva and Niche Gamer. Niche Gamer coming out saying we do agree with the base sentiment of gaming companies overplaying their hands per se. They said they couldn't cover it because they don't want to get punished by PR forums and lose access to games. Because they support similar views. Of course, PR people are total leftist hacks as well. They're going to cover for Sweet Baby. And, if you are, too right of center, or maybe, even in the center, then you might lose access to some of these games. And you won't be able to cover it early. You won't be able to get those reviews out to be competitive with all the major gaming sites. Of course, the gaming sites, all the major ones, Play Ball, they're all giving Sweet Baby really good reviews, or kind of covering for them, leaving out the key details of how it was them, Sweet Baby, that harassed Sweet Baby being detected first. But anyway, saying that, hey, if you can't rock the boat too much or we might lose access. Kind of a weak thing to say, but you can understand where they're coming from. Sid Alpha was not happy with this. Bitch, I've been blacklisted by every major gaming journalistic site to the point to where they have in the past taken stories broken by me point by point or refusing to cite me, and I've been blacklisted by most major game publishers because I am honest. Any journalist refusing to cover a story due to their access being limited means they are no longer journalists. They are promoters, pure and simple cowards, each and every one of you. And then he goes on to brag about how he did the math, brag about how if he did pay reviews, he could clear 1K or 6K, had I accepted them all for a single 30-day period. Instead, I content myself with less than $500 in ad revenue. And that's because he's got integrity. And he doesn't want to become a paid promoter. And then, of course, studying Craig from Side Scrollers Podcast, also calling him out. Name the companies and call them out. You can't copyright your access to a $60 game. And then some people kind of coming to their aid. It's not just $60, my dude. This one PR company gatekeeps some of the biggest developers. It's $1,000 a game each year. They also control some of the events. You trust me, I know. And but here's what I want to get into with this. The right wing likes to do this sort of like ideological purity tests just as much as the left wing does. And I kind of think this is pretty dumb. I don't agree with niche gamer kind of like fence sitting here where it's like, oh, I wish we could, but oh, we don't. We don't want to rock the boat too much. It's weak. It's a weak thing to say. But I get what he's saying. You do what you got to do. And I personally think, just covering games and game reviews from a male-friendly perspective is more than enough. You don't have to sort of fight the fight, as a lot of these guys want to say, to integrity and honesty and all this garbage. I mean, the thing is, every major institution is against you. The academia is against you. Journalism against you. Any of the media is against you. The government's against you. Most women are against you in this sort of fight. So the idea that, you just stand up and tell the truth and then people are going to be convinced, that's not happening. You got to be, in some ways, not everyone has to be duplicitous, but I see no problem in employing duplicity when these odds are kind of stacked against you. You can't just play by the rules and just win. It's because a lot of times this is what you see from the right wing. Like, we play by the rules, we have honor, and they just keep losing. So who gives a shit? You're just complaining. You're just sitting there complaining about the rules while the other team is just trouncing your ass all over the place. What good does it do anybody? But that is sort of my point. I don't agree with Sarah Craig or Sid Alf. I mean, it's good for them. I mean, it's admirable to kind of take this sort of approach where it's like, boom, I'm honest. You can trust me. I'm sure his fans appreciate it, and that's, who he's doing it for. But there's also got to be some people that are actually trying to appeal to more than just a hard right, sort of insulated audience. Maybe in Sid Alpha's people aren't hard right. Maybe they're just, just like video games. But you've got to have people that are willing to sort of play ball and just do their best and make, as long as you're not compromising too much, you don't want to actively attack, I think, the male gamers. But at the same time, you don't necessarily need to fight every fight. You don't need to pick the right side every time, or worry about it. You can just stay quiet, do your thing. It's perfectly fine if the work you're doing, and really that is the thing, is the work you're doing is good. That doesn't matter. Like, you look at games like Helldivers 2. Everyone likes it. Everyone enjoys it. I'm quite sure most of the developers and the people in charge of it are not right wing. They're not fighting the fight. In fact, I've seen tweets trying to encourage, hey, we need to get more women developers in Arrowhead and all these sort of, I think they're Swedish, these Swedish game things. So that they're actively kind of working on their own downfall and the downfall of games in general. But hey, the work they're doing is good, so I'm going to enjoy it. I don't need everyone to step completely in line with my values in order to be considered an ally or worthy of my time and attention or support. Well, let's move on. We're actually going to go to a niche gamer. This was interesting. Not necessarily about video games, but see if you can spot the parallels here. A common thread. The Japanese Communist Party has reportedly created a secret report form to spread among its members in order to report young adult manga to the United Nations. Japanese Two-getter blogger Mihatsu Nakamiya reported finding a form as a QR code in the Shimbura Alta daily newspaper of the Japanese Communist Party. Format switches such as whether convenience stores carry adult magazines. Names manga magazines carry shonen titles for young adult men, such as Young Animal, which serializes Berserk. Sorry. Push to vilify anime and manga appears to be particularly contradictory to the party's statements in 2001, where the JCP refer their alleged commitment to free expression, but has a reservation about women that are portrayed in creative works. Which is even more surprising. In 2010, all 8 JCP Assembly members voted against a bill that would restrict freedom of expression, but a lot can change in 14 years. In trying to provoke the United Nations coming out Japanese policy of free expression, it's evocative of the Vice hit piece on Japanese media, which conflated fan surface of manga and anime with child abuse. After Japanese social media users divorced the secret poll, some pointed out the irony of historical repressed political party wanting their user authority to restrict freedom of expression. You can find a screenshot of the tweet discussed the JP forum below. And really, this is the goal. Of course, he mentioned in contrast to censoring manga, Japanese politician and manga artist Ken Akamatsu, who created, of course, Love Hina. Very famous, probably one of the first actually manga I actually read. The harem, one of the fathers of sort of the harem anime genre. Legend. Discussed pledge to protect artists. But the main thing I want to, he's a member of the Liberal Democrat Party, which liberal and Democrat, it's hard to say. When you credit across nations' borders, they can mean all very different things. But you can kind of see, again, communism trying to police how women are portrayed in media. Again, very similar to what the sort of communists or leftists are doing in America with video games. And of course, let's move. This is speaking of restricting, this is actually something that might be necessary. The content that focuses on Twitch changing their policy again to restrict content that focuses on intimate body parts for a prolonged period of time will not be allowed. And of course, this is again Niche Gamer by Brandon Rosselli. With the photo, of course, is a morgue pie. Also was kind of behind the topless stream meta. And I guess wearing green pants and then projecting Fortnite gameplay onto her ass. She also has we can look here as sort of another thing where it's like her tits and she's playing some sort of I don't know what it is, Facebook game. Who knows? But Twitch moving to ban it, and I think it's actually pretty funny. The way Morgue Pie has managed to skirt, really innovating for an e-thought, bringing the meta forward of e-thoughtery on Twitch. And Twitch really struggling to keep up here as they struggle to kind of allow whores on their platform, but kind of keep it clean enough where they don't completely look like a softcore porn platform. Of course, they really are just a funnel into pornography, but that's here nor there. But, I mean, credit where credit's due. Worked by staying ahead of the curve. I mean, 2 times. I mean, I know it's been a year already. More than a year. I guess it kind of has. But really, really pushing the boundaries there. Good on her. Of course, she'll have to figure out a new and interesting ways to be a thought online. If only they could, put this energy into curing cancer, but why would they do that? That doesn't get any attention. All right, let's move on here. IGN not having a good week. This was IGN France, perma ban. Give me Banhammer at Give Me Banhammer here. IGN France tries to trash Stellar Blade. Has never seen a woman, and then meanwhile been married over with his wife, who's a prolific artist. So IGN saying it's not new, and other games have chosen to highlight the strengths of their female characters, but where Bayonetta stands out with iconic character design, where 2B's from near inspires an entire generation because of cosplayers, Eve is just bland. A doll sexualized by someone who has never seen a woman. Very upset about this, how she's portrayed. Of course, the demo out now for the PS5 was early released, but now it's officially out. People are really enjoying it, getting a lot of attention. But of course, this is the one of the typical attacks. You've never seen a woman. You're an incel. People that like this stuff get no sex. They're just losers in a basement. Very common attack for people that make these stuff. Of course, it's 100% true. Pretty good looking woman right here, especially for 40. Holy crap. Here's her working on, he was an artist working on her craft here. So Stellar Blade CEO doing well for himself. Good on him. Of course, plenty of women actually love these characters as well. Sexy female characters, but they'll never hear that from IGN. IGN screwed up again. 2 times, I think it's the same week too. And now tell me, maybe you're not anime aficionados, but can you tell me what's wrong with this post? Isekai, one of the most popular genres in anime and manga, is now officially in the Oxford English Dictionary. However, it may not mean what you think. Now, nothing wrong with the sentence, but you'll notice this picture right here is from Freeland, To the Journey's End, I believe, which is not an isekai at all. It's just a fantasy. Isekai, of course, usually involves protagonists dying or like being transported to another world, and a common setting for it is fantasy. But Freeland is just straight up fantasy. It's just a straight up fantasy world. IGN apparently did not know that, or chose like the worst. I mean, of all the animes, there's like a gazillion isekai animes out there. Why do you choose Freeland? The one that isn't an isekai. I mean, there's Overlord. Good God, I'm not going to list every one of them. Konosuba just came out. Like, there's a million isekai animes. Just endless streams of trash isekais that you can watch. Of course, Konosuba not included in trash isekai. Just so you know. IGN, get it together, guys. Get it to freaking together. Or you're going to end up like Kotaku. But hey, let's go to more IGN. Ooh. For this pile of crap. Guys, did you know Haley Cooper? Have you heard of Haley Cooper? The most important person in Spider-Man 2? Of course, by Rebecca Valentine, so you know it's good. From IGN, Spider-Man 2 animator explains the motion capture magic of Haley Cooper. One of the best trends in recent years have been a greater thoughtfulness in how diverse characters and stories are portrayed. Really is it? Really, is you going to add cool stuff to my game? No works. Takes in a number of different forms. One critical way developers are making this happen is through improved technology, particularly around animation and motion capture. One key example is Spider-Man 2. We saw them take advantage of a group of talented actors, consultants. Bum, bum, bum. And lots of fun motion capture sensors to bring the death character Haley Cooper and her use of American Sign Language to life. Wow. Last week, GDC, group of animators, Spider-Man 2, gave a talk called Thwips and Hugs, the animation of Spider-Man 2. That's really interesting. I couldn't wait to sit in on that. I wish I was there. What kicked off with the story of Haley's portrayal may be one of Spider-Man 2's most impressive. Absolutely. It definitely is Spider-Man 2's most impressive accomplishment. when you look in the comments of this, you can just see how many people really loved playing as the blind deaf teenager growing up in New York City. They really enjoyed those missions. Haley was portrayed in full motion capture by deaf. You had to get a deaf actress to play someone deaf. You can't have a normal person do it, of course. Frequently offered guidance and suggestions stemming from her own experience. Also hired deaf consultants from Hypernova to answer questions about deaf. You got to understand deaf culture, too. Really important for like the 4 or 5 people that are deaf that play this game. And then talking about ASL, really interesting stuff. Spider-Man's 2, impressive performance and animations are among the many things we loved about the game, which we gave 8 out of 10. Called it Insomniac's Backtail yet at GDC received multiple nominations for the Game Developer Choice Awards. We learned that his acclaim was almost cut. Wow, of course, this is just a link to and more articles. Helping you click on more. Again, this is how they do it. They want to keep blowing smoke up their own asses about how good this stuff is. And again, nobody liked it. Let me see if I can. Give me 1 second. Let me bring up my bookmarks here. And let me see what this tweet. Let's see. This got. Damn. This was a really popular tweet here. I'm going to bring this up. People clearly do not like it all that much. Let's see. Let's see how people responded to it. It's got them responding. So when you get laid off, there's Aaron. Good old Aaron Clary. Yes. When I think of Spider-Man, first thought is graffiti in the inner city. People talking about it. It's literally, I don't get the hate. It's literally a 5-mission long mission. It's Miles Morales. Blah, blah, blah. A lot of people are fighting. I guess most of these people are just sort of reply guying. Okay. So yeah, some of the most boring missions in the game. WTF. I was playing a Death Girl Spider-Man. An accomplishment. A QTE spray pairing. See? Worst part of the game. It had me a man of the game. $60. Yeah. Pretty nice idea. Both Spider-Man games before this one were better. A lot of people, again, didn't like this section. It didn't add anything to the game. It didn't make the game more fun for almost anybody besides the sort of journalists, again, that want to push this sort of leftism, like, hey, we got to have someone to sign. There's nothing wrong with sign language. But when you try to, like, force it into it, like, we've got to have this stuff front and center in a superhero game. What's the point of it? What's the point of having this ugly girl? And frankly, she's ugly. I mean, look at her face. Look at this. This isn't appealing in the slightest. Even if she wasn't deaf, it still wouldn't be appealing. At least her being deaf makes her slightly more interesting. Holy crap, look at her nose. I mean, it's like, ugh. This is what they want to just throw in, like, sickness and disease and disability. That needs to be held up. Meanwhile, beautiful women need to be teared down. You like a beautiful woman? You're in itself. That's never seen a woman before. But this, you want a deaf girl graffiti? You're a hero. You're great. This is the greatest accomplishment ever. Having deaf women in it. It just continues. And it's just the overall sort of infesting media today, especially video games. I need to get a drink. We're almost done with it. As we continue, oh boy. Apologize ahead of time for reading you a BuzzFeed article by Raven Ishka. Kids and adults can't stop playing Minecraft. Meet the women. Meet the women behind one of the best-selling video games of all time. Meet the women behind it, guys. And you're probably wondering, like, hey, didn't a guy named Notch make Minecraft? Well, yes, he did. But, of course, this needs to imply that it's the women behind it that are really making it a best-selling video game of all time. The one with 3 million copies sold worldwide, best-selling game, to Guinness Book of World Records. But this 2023 achievement is just the beginning because the women are here. Mentions Warner Brothers movie in the works, 15-year anniversary approaching in May. As building a better world not only through the power of play, but also by being one of the only studios in this male-dominated industry with a leadership team that's majority women. Wow. That's so impressive. And this is why. If you're ever wondering why the development, why these updates take so long, well, now you know. Women's History Month, we gotta have women talk about women and culture in Minecraft. This is Asha Bredlin, head of Mojang Studios, a Microsoft-owned game studio that created Minecraft, believes having a diverse team is key in a creative industry. Well, how so? Working with a team that is diverse, which represents our player base, and I hate this so much, which represents our player base. The idea that developers need to be the same exact sex and race, or that makeup needs to be the same as the audience that plays the game, is so ridiculous. It makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, guys like the same thing, like a black guy, an Asian guy, white guy. Chances are when it comes to video games, they like the same damn thing. They want to play dudes shooting up shit or sexy women. Turns out they all like them. All men of all colors like this stuff. It's like rap music. You think white people don't like rap music? Talking about getting money, respect, women. It's kind of universal in a lot of ways. But no, it's got to be diverse. It's got to be diverse. Only diverse people know how to make. Only black people know how to make stuff that black people like. I mean, that's how it works, right? Rarity, of course, talking about over 50%. I love this. Millions of players with over 40% identifying as women. Can't even say women anymore. Oh, it's so fun. We got 2 boys. Now we got, in fact, a generation. Not the same game because it's evolved. And a lot of this crap about talking about women, a lot of it is about kind of erasing Notch. When Microsoft took over and Mojang became a thing, I mean, sure, there was some tweets about trannies. That Notch, totally based, by the way. Good job, Notch. But this was just an excuse. They wanted to get rid of Notch. They didn't want to have his influence. Getting rid of him helps Microsoft complete their kind of sort of takeover. Remove him, remove the history of Minecraft, take out 4chan and the history that they helped bring this game into line, sell out to leftist organizations like the ADL, giving them access to chat logs so they can look over it and take stuff out of context to make their audience look bad. An effort, again, to push more leftism. You can see Microsoft or Mojang doing. You go into their the Windows version of it. I can't think of it at the moment. Mojang, you got the Pride flags, Pride Parade. They're out there representing Pride, and you got crap like Pride in Minecraft, kind of stuff. Talking about LGBTQ representation, and it's no wonder when you have women in charge that you have crap like this. Where they have images where they're crap like this. You don't think they're trying to indoctrinate kids with this crap? Oh, Pride Month, Pride flag. Hey, get your Pride cape. And this stuff looks moronic. I mean, the mohawk's kind of cool, rainbow colored mohawk, but of course, you gotta have this crafting with pride. Yeah, of course, a bunch of women there and some dudes that want to get laid by women, or they're gay. Could be both. Some of both, but it's all about pushing a narrative to people. But sort of bringing back what I was talking about the right wing stuff earlier. You know what? I still like Minecraft, and I still play Minecraft because the thing itself is good. And even stuff with some of the mod makers will like come out, like I think the Irish Shaders guy will talk about like trans rights and have this logo trans. That stuff doesn't bother me. I don't care if he's trans or wants to push leftist gobbledygook. If he makes good work and it benefits me, well, hey, I'll still use his stuff. Why am I going to suffer? Just because I've got principles. You have to do what you can because, like I said, a lot of society is against you. The sort of people in power that control a lot of the levers of finance and government and media are against you. So, hey, do what you can. And if, Minecraft, it was a great game. I think it's in decline. I don't know if it's because the leadership is majority women or it really just seems like they've stopped taking risks, like I've said before. And then, smaller gaming studios already proven women can and should. Why? Held leadership roles. The rest of the gaming just simply need to catch up. For instance, according to a survey conducted by a top women in games, top global 15 game companies, only 6% women are represented in executive teams, which seems fine. 16% is actually probably higher than I expect. Well, we got to have more women because guess what? They're going to push this agenda. They're not going to rock the boat, or they're going to go along with a lot of this crap that includes making gaming and its space worse for men. Well, let's move on to talking about more women, how great they are, how great it is that women are in it. Talking about, diverse strategy. No 2 days the same. Goal is to meet the needs of their diverse global community. Like, why do you need what diverse needs do you have when you're making Minecraft? It's one of the most universal games out there. Just make a new tree. Just make some new trees, make some new biomes. Everybody likes it. But adds that safe spaces created within teams and work culture creates more productivity, happy teams, and the share of variety of ideas, which can bleed into the community of players to benefit from. And the other thing, I forgot to mention that I kind of sort of don't mention is that the fact that it's not like these women that have helped and allowed Minecraft to grow. It's their community, which is a lot of men in here that are really sort of boosted Minecraft and made it a giant that it is today. But enough of that. Let's move on. Let's see. We're going to talk about some happier stuff. This one I thought was just cool. This was a cool. It's pretty old. This, of course, was posted on March 20th. A bit older, but I thought this was really cool. A lot of people talking about Neuralink and people planting chips in people's heads and sort of like dark future where everyone has to get implanted and the government controls your thoughts or can see your thoughts or whatever cyberpunk dystopia you want to talk about. But really, what I thought was really cool is this guy sort of talking about and playing. Is this a notch shirt? Talking about playing video games with Neuralink. And I think in this, I don't know if it shows it. Twitch video, X's video sucks ass, by the way. One of the worst video players on social media. And now it's not going to play anymore. Because I tried to scrub too much. But kind of showing where this is my fault for actually trying to use X in this. Long term, it's possible to shunt the signals from the brain to motor cortex past the damaged part of the spirit to enable people to walk again and use it. Their arms normally. Wow. So this guy is quadriplegic, and he's using Neuralink to play video games, like you'd expect. Some guy that people talk again about the crazy scenarios like cyberpunk dystopian. But really, you have a guy in the situation where, like, he's one of the first people to get Neuralink installed successfully. He's paraplegic. Obviously, that's crazy. That's sort of crazy idea of getting a thing implanted to your brain. But when you're in this sort of situation, I mean, what do you have to lose, really? I mean, maybe a little bit, but I think it's worth the risk, especially for the benefit. And he is using Neuralink to, let's try and reload this, Neuralink to gain function to his brain. What games are you talking about? What game? Civ 6, baby. So here he is, the first Neuralink human to get this gamer going out playing Civilization 6 to 6 a.m. Awesome. Really cool to see a good story about a guy giving some extra functionality through science. Yeah, it's kind of interesting to think. In the future, 20 years in the future, is it just going to be paraplegics? Will there have to be an implant? People being able to play games with their mind. Pretty crazy. Now, earlier this in the year, I talked about Vision of Mana. I thought it looked, at first looks, it looked pretty crappy. To me, kind of boring. But this is from PC Gamer by Timothy Monbleu. I'm sure that's how it's pronounced. That got me a little bit excited here. Look at this title, Visions of Mana. That's exactly what it should be. Mid-budget RPG comfort food. That's pretty tantalizing. Kind of talking about how he poured over latest RPGs. I expected Vision of Mana to play similarly. I want to down this month, yet was the opposite. Combat is slow-paced. Even though enemies can be bombarded with rapid attacks. Right by AoEs, there's no combat system to fight the fact Trials of Mana, a remake from 1995 Capcom game, had one. Struggling initially, tried to mash buttons my way to victory, but slowly whittled away at the HP bars of basic enemies at best. Was it bad? And then he had to analyze the tools at disposal. What Vision of Mana lasts in testing and makes up for a rich variety of combat options. So, a lot of different, and like I've seen some of the gameplay so far, looks pretty interesting as far as the combat system, and like I guess you can apply different elements to your class. Kind of like a different combat system. These graphics look pretty good. I mean, if you look at this style, I think it looks quite nice. And I don't know like what the final price is going to be. If it's decent, is it going to be $40? Vision of Mana isn't going to change the world or even RPGs when it launches. It reads as a modestly budgeted game for people who remember when Squaresoft and Enix were two different companies. In 2024, I think that approach is well worth celebrating. Paid attention to the game industry. Here's horrific layoffs. Big budgets come unsustainable. Meanwhile, Vision of Mana, predecessor Trial Mana, was considered a massive success despite only selling 1 million. Square Enix stated in 2020 the game significantly surpassed our initial expectations. Square Enix no stranger to AA games. AA game, I'm definitely looking forward to that. Could come out market inflection point for big publishers. It shows the value of games without state-of-the-art production values that don't need to be all things to all people. It looks good, plays well. I'm okay with less spectacle, especially if it means that people can make it and actually keep their jobs. So, overall, sounds pretty exciting. If it's like around $40 and it's a decent game, it might be worth checking out. So, I'm kind of shifting my initial thoughts on it based on what I'm hearing here. Vision of Mana might be something I'll have to pick up when it comes out. I think right now it's stated for summer 2024. Looking forward to it. Of course, let's end it with a slight review. One of the things I recently purchased, sometimes when I'm feeling sick, I kind of feel like doing something a little different. And for me, it's all been about playing. Hang on a second, let me change something. Here, let me see if I can get my audio device so you can actually hear this. Here we go. This is Secret of Mana. This is a remake. New graphics. I do miss the sprites, but I can see here we're in the Forest of Seasons. Iconic piece. This is from the time SNES just had some amazing JRPGs. I was a kid back then, and I had all the time in the world. So, plenty of time to play these things. And I really enjoyed it. And playing these sort of RPGs was just awesome. You can kind of see going in, fighting this stuff. Combat systems, it really is very similar to the original game. I think almost the same. And for the most part, I think it's really good. And the graphics, to be honest, are cute. They're not sprites, which is unfortunate, but that's something you're not going to get a lot of in this day and age, sadly. But I do like the sort of drawn effects they kind of went with the stuff, and the animations are pretty good. Let me turn this down so I can kind of doesn't get rid of talking. You can see a lot of stuff, balloons in there. You got the chest shaking and throwing it down, attacking stuff. Really awesome stuff. Oh, got the boss fight. Classic boss music here as I try to use this spell ring. He's going to use to attack me. Again, the combat's very exactly like basically the first game. You can see me. It's the menus, and I mean maybe like you could say like that could be refined, but I don't begrudge them for just remastering. Well, not a remaster, but like basically an HD remake of this game with 3D graphics. Secret of Mana was a great game. One of my personal favorites from the Super Nintendo era, and just a fun game to play. With the RPGs, turn-based ones like Final Fantasy VI, they can kind of drag on, but this one has like a nice pace, in my opinion, and the graphics are beautiful. I love the setting, the different characters. Like over here, we're going in the woods. I don't think it hits this. It doesn't hit quite the same in terms of the vibes of the original Secret of Mana, but it still has a good attempt. Let me see if I can kind of. Do I miss the? The fight? I beat his ass that quick. Oh, maybe I skipped past it. I'm just trying to find the Cobra fight. I was struggling to find. It's funny. I was struggling to find where to go next at one point. A classic problem from these games. Going through here, went through this area. It was interesting. I'm just trying to show you the snake boss here. Oh, here he is. They really changed this design. I remember being completely different. I think he was made out of circles too, on the original sprite. Let's see, Secret of Mana. Let's see, Snake Boss. Great Viper. Yeah, let me show you this. Thanks, Runaway guys. Look at that. Very different. I love this. I love the snake things. I love the sprites though. So good. But I mean, like, here you go. Reimagine. I still think this looks good in its own way. But I'm absolutely gonna trounce this guy. I'm just spamming. Well, I'm not really spamming analyze, but gotta level up the stuff. I always love the leveling up system. Such a lot of great memories. Secret of Mana. I will say, the game is $40 retail. I don't think it's worth $40, but at this point you can just find it on sale for like $20. I got it $20 on a Humble Bundle, and of course, but even before that, it was on sale on Steam for $20. So you can get it half off, $20. If you're like Secret of Mana, I think it's a good pickup. I've probably put like 10 hours into the game already. Maybe not 10 hours, maybe like 8. But I could already tell. Well, worth it because I love Secret of Mana. I already know how this game ends. But and also I think one of the other kind of cool things they added were voice acting. And of course I changed to Japanese because I thought the English voice acting would be kind of cringe. But with like a Japanese voice acting, you kind of have like a kind of get some of the flavor of it. So you got to get a little of the emotion here. Let me see if I can bring one of the parts. Also, like when you go in the inn, they kind of have like little like dialogue segments in between the people, members of the party. Kind of gives off some of their personality, which is kind of cool. You know, like she's kind of a more of the early, like the '90s was a very like tsundere, mean. I don't want to say mean, but you know, very like bratty type of girl. That's a still good looking bratty type of girl, which is I think a very good trope. Very hot and cold type of thing. Of course, she has a good rack too, which is great. I love the sprite's face. So they a lot of like cool animations, kind of add a little something to it, and I like that. I like that little extra thing they added to it. Kind of neat. Secret of Mana. What's it called? Secret of Mana. I guess it's called Secret of Mana. I don't even say like a remake or anything. For Steam, recommend. I recommend it. I got 6 hours into it. I would recommend. But guys, that's it for the Scar Thumb podcast. Enjoy your Easter. Enjoy your holiday. And keep playing games that you enjoy, no matter who makes them. You guys have a good weekend. Or weekend, whatever. Goodbye.